Greetings, YouTube. When I make videos about the community, this kind of video is the toughest to talk about because what works for me may not work for you. For example, I'm one of those people who, despite the fact that I'm on pace, I'm sure, to lose a record amount of Battlegrounds fights below because I am committed to not changing my mastery setup. So, like, seriously, Suicide Masteries won't cost you this week, but it could cost you enough to where you'll lose by like 1 to 3,000. And I mean, that's all that matters, right? But in the meantime, I know that I've been blessed, largely thanks to YouTube donations and, of course, just views, to afford to play this game for essentially free. Like, when people ask me what's the best part about it being a YouTuber, you pay for your Marvel Casino of Champions addiction with the money. Not the best way to get rich, but rich with free pixelated champions. So, with that being said, here we have, a roster that, as of the time of recording this, has 7 rank 4s and 7 rank 4s and 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like 40, almost 48 rank 3s. Now, I get matched up against fellow Paragon players every day that have this, right? But for people who are about to be Paragon and who are Paragon, for so many of you, and I'm not including myself in this, but you've explored all content. And on top of that, some people tell me, and maybe the brief buff of rewards will mean this, but some people tell me they don't even care about exploring event quest content besides maybe Uncollected and Cavalier. So they can afford the 15 energy per Battlegrounds run. But if you're trying to progress as a player, if you've got a ton of content to clear and maybe you want to push yourself to become, say, Uncollected or maybe even Cavalier / Thronebreaker, you have to make a choice right now between clearing content with that energy or doing Battlegrounds, unless you bought, like, say, the energy refill deal that came into the contest on Monday. Well, this has led to a pretty interesting forum post debate, which I wanted to take the time to pull up. So we'll darken the screen real quick. We'll jump to the forums. We'll bring ourselves back. And here we are. Thanks again, as always, to Brian Shadow Strike for keeping me updated with the forums. So Battlegrounds Energy, this post from Tuesday, July 19th, is from Strategic, and I think it presents an interesting forum discussion. Why not make specific energy for BGs like Duels or Alliance Quest Alliance War? I finished Cavalier this month already, but trying to do Act 6 100% and with next month's Event Quest and Act 8 on the horizon and other content, we will be forced to decide how to spend our energy. Why not make Battlegrounds entry credits that refresh every 1.5 hours per credit, and each Battleground start and cost 1 credit, and you start with 5 when full. 1 5-hour credit refresh is 15 energy right now. You can call it stamina, for example, and sell specific stamina credits in the store for units, either singles or full 5. This way we can do BGs and other content. So, part of me likes this idea and part of me hates it. And that's why this video exists, because I don't know what to think. But I can give you my 2 cents and see what, you think about this. So, I like, because I always have excess energy at the end of the month, even after exploring all Event Quest. I like that I can, be away from my phone for a few hours and then just use regular energy. Now, I suppose you could make the argument that with this setup, that the same is going to be true for this entry credits, but I have a feeling the way Kabam would go, and this is where I'm maybe a little nervous about it, they would try to make as much money, understandably, their for-profit company, as possible if it was a different kind of energy, and that might drain your units more. Maybe not. I'm just saying. It could happen. We've seen that before in other areas of the game. SK Jorn here says currently those that benefit the most from Battlegrounds are people with massive rosters. That's why I showed my roster at the beginning for what it's worth. These individuals tend to have completed all content and have plenty energy to spare. Gosh, you and me, it's like we're the same mind, bro. We're not, for the record. To the progressing player, Battlegrounds is a losing situation where their roster isn't big enough to keep up and they'll need to decide between Battlegrounds or completing content. Skylord says, nah, I'd rather have 0 entry cost. Honestly, don't mind if someone wants to play thousands of games. Our rewards max out, so no benefit there either. Would honestly be a win-win for Kabam. I don't think they'd ever do that. I don't understand the rewards max out. I mean, the rewards are maxed out, I guess, in terms of rank rewards, but no, I still think they want to drain. They need something, some incentive financially to make this work. Koshman says, I can only assume that when a friendly mode comes out, that it will cost less or no energy. I don't know why Kabam hasn't included it in the beta, but it is what it is. I think if they were to remove energy costs for the ranked match mode, then the rating system would need to be looked into a little bit. Someone who plays, say, 40 matches a week and is able to go 30 and 10 should be rewarded better than someone who plays 100 matches and goes 60-40. The system sort of works now because although the second person has a lower win rate, they've invested a lot more energy, so that balances out, rewarding them equally. If you remove that cost, there needs to be something else to find a balance. I mean, that's an interesting point. I never even thought about that. I played the ranked mode in UFC back in the day, and they had a belt system. Basically, you started as a white belt, and in order to progress to the next belt, you had to win 7 out of 10 matches. If you won between 4 and 6, you stayed the same belt. If you won 3 or less, you were demoted. So, interesting points. Kabam Jax does have a point here, too. Hey everyone, I mentioned it on our post, so forgive any repetition. I know the energy cost to play Battlegrounds has been something we've discussed a lot of feedback about, or we've received a lot of feedback about, I should say. The development team is aware of that and are discussing potential changes. I know the conversations have included maybe reducing the cost or a potential new energy resource. As always, we won't know about that decision until later, but the information is being relayed. One of Kabam Jack's better posts this week. I don't know what would benefit the community the most. My man, Mr. Brian Shadow Strike, who keeps me doing these forums, had a great suggestion, though, that maybe one of the things, really there's 2 changes that need to be made, regardless of Battlegrounds. One, small energy needs to now change to like half energy. Just think, for those of you that can do, say, 70 energy max, if you could have a small energy that refilled 35 instead of 5, that would be nice. And then, of course, we've been discussing, this is another video topic that I've covered, good grief, maybe a couple of years, maybe less. But the experience points boosts, that should be gold boost now. That would also help a lot of problems. But I think Kabam knows that, and they don't want to hurt the gold market with those, so they're going to not touch them until they have to, which is unfortunate, but I also get where they're coming from because they're a for-profit company. What would you like to see in this situation? Let me know in the comments below. And Brian, thanks again for keeping me updated.